You are now listening to For All Nerds Show, a podcast about geek and pop culture from the perspective of people of color. For All Nerds is hosted by DJ Ben Amin and Tatiana Keene Jones. For All Nerds Show is a member of the Loudspeakers Network, where we always say rest in peace to our founder, Combat Jack.
For All Nerds Show is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcasts, live events, our website, are all independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Welcome to the Fan Bros, the show where the bros are fans. Doodle.
And what's up, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the For All Nerds Show, the voice of the urban geek, the podcast where we discuss geek culture from the perspective of people of color. And as always, sitting in the captain's chair, it's your boy, DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. Noob Say What, the Count of Crown Wakanda, future Herald of Galactus, Hash Ketchum, Doctor Who's Mans is this, Soldier 70 Spliff. Here in the spaceship tonight. Yes. And as always, I'm joined by
Tatiana King, the Grand Duchess of Tech, also known as Flex Luthor, Ned Slanders, Gucci Mane DeLorean, the Lord of Lightsabers, Chance the Parappa, and the Ting of the North.
There you go. Toss a coin to your ninja.
Yes.
Because we are back. Better than ever. Welcome all new listeners, all the new viewers, everybody peeping us right now on twitch.tv/forallnerds. That's For All Nerds. You know, you already know that because you're here watching, seeing these beautiful smiles, all of this beautiful melanin in your face. It's springtime. Spring is here again.
Is it really springtime? Because the weather's been tripping. Like,
I mean, that's spring.
One day is 60 degrees, the next day is 80, the next day is 40. Like, global warming is
there you go. You know, we get two seasons these days. We get summer and winter, and you know,
mad
chaos
cold
in between.
And more hot.
That's
what we get.
Pretty much. And right now we in the middle of it, where you get one every other day.
Yeah.
But you know, that's spring now. That's spring.
It is what it is. But springtime is bringing good things because. Especially from the Disney camp, the camp of Mickey from the block, because
Mickey from the foot on your neck.
Yo! When I say the hold that Disney/Marvel has on my life,
it's ridiculous.
And it's been ongoing for the last 10 years. Like, I mean, let's be really real about this. Like, y'all understand that, like, damn near every piece of entertainment, Disney has had their hand in it in some way, shape, or form. The last 10 years, bro. I mean, the major piece of entertainment that you have consumed and talked about and we've reviewed, it's come from one place. Generally speaking.
Generally speaking, because Marvel was Marvel before Disney, but then when Disney came through, it was just like, here's that hammer. And I mean, for me, it's been my whole damn life. You know, all my memories. Happy May 4th to everyone. May the 4th be with you, because pretty much my whole life has revolved around Star Wars. And then Marvel just came through and was like, hey, you know, like, I was already a comic head of Marvel since, you know, before I can remember, pretty much, like maybe like 6 years old, I was reading comics, I think. And then, you know, the MCU came through, and it's just been like that trailer that they dropped with the Stan Lee voiceover and
oh my God.
the clips from the old films.
Marvel came through and crushed the buildings, as they do, because Ben Amin's alluding to that Marvel, we got nothing, what we calling the Marvel hype trailer.
Yeah, the Marvel Stan Lee.
The hype train is choo-choo, like the hype train is just going full speed, because like what the chills that enveloped my body when I was watching that. And like you said, like from the voice of Stan Lee, of his monologue, basically. And then seeing, I mean, even though we know it doesn't matter, like seeing these films and getting their dates, their release dates, at least as far as today, their release dates. And then everything just coming, literally the titles and everything zooming at your face like, take that, take that, take that. And then they had the audacity to put an A/4 logo? Like, okay, Marvel Phase 4. But nigga, that is the Fantastic Four logo. Don't you tell me otherwise.
I mean, they already showed that same logo as the Fantastic Four. That was the trick of it.
Even if they never showed it, that's always been the Fantastic Four logo. Every iteration has generally been that. So you can't show me that and don't think I'm not going to flip the fuck out. Because I did. I know you did.
I mean, I definitely did. I was bawling. I can't lie. When my man Stan Lee hit that man next to you, that's your brother. That woman next to you, that's your sister. I was just like, oh, Stan got it right, for all his other faults, whatever. When it came to the vision he was putting out there, he was like, Gene Roddenberry, same type of thing. Both men had faults and shit, but the vision they were putting out there was just next level. Like Stan always talked about how, they were against racism, against bigotry, against any of that stuff of any kind. And to hear his voice again and to see all these clips of all these classic joints, that are now classic to all of us. And then, like you said, after they build up, like that man next to you, and they got, T'Challa sitting there with Killmonger, Like, God, it hurts.
Right in the feels.
Right in the feels. And then they come in with the Wakanda Forever.
So they released the official titles of all of these films.
Oh, God.
As Benjamin said, Black Panther 2 is officially titled Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever, bro. Like, a whole cultural phenomenon that had us in a chokehold for 2 years straight. Even now.
Like,
a whole phrase that took over an emoji. Like, come on, y'all. They also announced the Ant-Man and the Wasp title, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. The Quantum Realm, we know that was going on. Like, again, we know Shang-Chi is on the way. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. We know Black Widow on the way. I just want to see it and get it over with. Like, God.
Black Widow, I can't lie. I'm hyped. Especially every little bit more they keep showing. I'm like, because it's Marvel again, and I'm just not doubting them.
See it because it's going to be important to the greater story. Absolutely.
Yes.
The Marvels.
You peep how it's like Monica's logo. Font with the Captain Marvel logo, and then the S of Miss Marvel.
Right?
Like, what a logo! That was a sick.
So you're gonna have
sick
this
design work.
You're gonna have this with Brie Larson, Monica Rambeau, and then what's the young lady who's playing Miss Marvel?
I don't know, but you just called her Monica Rambeau like that's the woman playing.
No, I'm sorry. Tiana Paris. Sorry.
Yes.
Sorry.
And I'm not sure the young lady who is playing Miss Marvel yet. She has not yet become a household name like she will be in about 3-4 months, I'd say. So also, while you are looking that up...
Her name is Iman Vellani.
There we go. Yes. And there's been... you saw the photos of her on set in the costume, right?
Yes.
Fire.
I saw those pictures. Flipping out when it comes to all of this stuff. And my thing is, everybody should be flipped out. It don't matter what level of Marvel fan you are. It doesn't matter if you've never read the books and never will. Who cares? The fact that they're doing these types of stories and the fact that they're doing it in so many different ways. You're literally going from TV to film to random web series. Like it's unbelievable. Like, at the end of the day, it's just genius when you see it all in aggregate, but it's really kind of just unbelievable about all this stuff that's happening. And then you have the Eternals coming, and then you have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming. Like, it's just so much to compute. But it makes me happy, and at the end of the day, it makes me really excited, and that was the whole purpose of this trailer. Like, yeah, we know y'all know, but y'all don't know.
And then, like, the Shang-Chi trailer, we didn't get to talk about that because that dropped, like, last week, right after we recorded.
On our neck. Let's talk about that. What you think about that trailer? I thought, listen, it's like, what?
The foot's on the neck at this point,
It's fire. I was already excited. I like that they're reclaiming, and again, people are trying to liken this to the Asian, quote-unquote, Black Panther. I'm not sure if that's the right way to go about it, but the reason why, because they noticed that there's a lot of different Asian cultures being mixed in to give you like this new hero and the background of all the different characters and stuff like that. So I get that. I definitely wanted to have that, a big level of support from, and someone had posted this. There was a journalist that said they feel like really it's going to be Asian Americans that are going to really push this and make this big, like to Black Panther levels big.
Oh, I mean, I think so, but I think Black people are going to be like, especially and I think pretty much all generations grow up watching Kung Fu movies on Saturday morning. That was like the thing from the 80s to the 90s and then to Power Rangers.
They used to do it on Saturday mornings?
Oh my God, yo. Yeah,
I learned about Kung Fu through like TBS cable.
Yeah, no, that was like the ill era, was like the, I guess, 80s to early 90s and even 70s. So that's where Wu-Tang, why they're so Kung Fu influenced, and a lot of us are so like early hip hop is so Kung Fu influenced, because growing up, it'd be every Saturday around like 11 o'clock or so, there'd be a Kung Fu joint. And I mean like the real, like the Shaw Bros, like one of my favorite memories is this one where this dude at the end, he's coming down on the villain, and the dude is laying there and he's about to hit him in the head. And instead of showing it, they cut back to his training montage when he was smashing these pots with his hand.
Oh my God!
So it's like, oh my God! The pot explodes. Yeah, and they're like that's what happened.
My entry into Kung Fu and martial arts flicks was Jackie Chan.
Oh
Jet
no!
Li. I saw those two first before that.
I mean, that's fire. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Drunken Master.
Yeah. Before I learned about like Bruce Lee and all that stuff, but that all came hand in hand. So Jackie Chan's freaking legend.
Legendary.
Jackie Chan, not Chun-Li, but Jet Li, obviously Bruce Lee, Michelle Yeoh. Yes. Like when you starting to get into like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon type stuff, and like all of those people in that like generation. That's where I learned about the Kung Fu flicks and all that stuff.
Yeah, see, I learned about it from the Shaw Bros. And like the Five Deadly Venoms, the Flying Guillotines, all those classic Wu-Tang versus this, Wu-Tang, Shaolin versus Wu-Tang, all those like every Saturday. I mean, the Flying Guillotine, we were just talking about that with Mortal Kombat, because the dude throws his bladed hat, but the Flying Guillotine was like this joint you threw that would land on a dude's shoulders, and then you pull the chain and it cuts your head off.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, the Flying Guillotine, you know what I mean?
Donnie Yen, Ape Man.
God, yeah.
That's what I, came in with. So
yeah, no, I came in with earlier, but I remember like in college when I saw Drunken Master for the first time, and then like all the Gun Fu joints that came up around then. What's my man's? Gun Fu. My man who, what's my man's name?
Oh, yeah.
With all the doves and everything. The director. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I know what you're talking about. Because he directed that one...
Face Off. He's director of Face Off.
And he directed John Woo.
John Woo, God damn it.
And then he directed that one, what I'm trying to say, Marvel, Hulk. Who?
No, that was
Ang Lee. That was Ang Lee.
Ang Lee who did that. Who's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Woo did, for those who haven't seen him, you should definitely check out where I talk about Gun Fu. Like, Face Off is cool, but Hard Boiled and The Killer. The Killer is the one where Raekwon samples everything on it for Only Built for Cuban Links.
What's the name? This is old movie where like gun fu is supposed to be like an actual thing. Like, and it has what's his face that plays Batman in Dark Knight. Christian Bale. Like Christian Bale.
Oh, that's Equilibrium.
Okay, I seen that, and then I started reading. Like I seen that like last year.
Yep.
And I started reading stuff about it, and they was talking about gun fu, and I'm like, is this a thing?
Equilibrium is cool, but go watch Hard Boiled for like one of the illest movies ever about cat shooting. That's Chow Yun-Fat, going ham. Okay. I mean, that is Chow Yun-Fat in his prime time. Like my man slides down a stairway railing 2 guns deep. Blah, 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 blah. There's this shootout in a hospital involving Chow and this other dude, and Chow's trying to protect this baby that is one of the illest, how they're working all the angles, in this tight-ass space. It's like, Hard Boiled is on another level. And The Killer, like I said, is sampled by Raekwon, extensively, for those who know they woo. So,
well, with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the...
hype.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, of course, starring Simu Liu, who is Shang-Chi, the title character. You have Awkwafina there starring or supporting as Katie. We have Tony.
Who's playing the Mandarin?
Mandarin's being played by Tony Leung.
Yes,
Tony Leung Chuai.
The man.
And again, reclaiming that who the real Mandarin is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, I didn't realize Florian Muntal is in this as well. The MMA fighter that turned actor. Obviously, my girl Michelle Yeoh, I just mentioned her. Fala Chen is in here. I'm just Ronnie Chang. Like, I'm just Ben Kingsley because he was the previous Mandarin.
Oh shit! So they are going all the way and gonna have him show up in this. I was wondering.
I think so. We don't know how, but he's definitely in the cast list.
Well, in one of the Marvel short films, there's like 3 or 4 of them that they released. One of them is like Return of the King or something it's called. And they are shown, the 10 Rings are shown breaking Ben Kingsley out of prison so he can pay for stealing the Mandarin's name.
Right, stealing his identity and stuff.
Yeah, so that's going to pay off in this.
Yeah. So needless to say,
we get Trevor. We get more Trevor, my
We're just a little bit hype about this.
I love Trevor.
And looking forward to it. Again, Marvel, Disney has the chokehold on us because nowadays when you talk about Disney, you're also talking about Star Wars. The Bad Batch, Ben.
Yeah. I mean,
you saw episode 1.
I did see episode 1. I did not have a chance to see episode 2. I think we got a promo preview for that, but I just, time been slipping. But yeah, I got to watch episode 1, and episode 1 is like a long ass joint too, especially
it's like 45 minutes or something.
57, I think. It's a good minute especially considering that most of these, the Rebels, Star Wars, Clone Wars were all 30-minute shows. Except when they'd have a long movie or whatever.
You think this is just to establish it? That's
why
it's so
just long? To get you into it. Because the Bad Batch were introduced in the last season of Clone Wars. Real quick, the Bad Batch are 5 clones total. 4 of them are genetic, like they didn't come out of the batch perfect. They're the Bad Batch. And so because of that, each of them has a different like abnormality that leads to genetic mutation, like X-Men. One is super strong. One is super smart, one has super aim, and one is a tracker.
Okay.
And then they're joined by this 5th dude who's a regular clone, and then he becomes mostly cybernetic in his introduction, in one of the episodes of Clone Wars when the Bad Batch are introduced. And so then he joins them. So you have these 5, irregulars who are the Bad Batch at the beginning of the first episode. And so this is reintroducing them for people who hadn't seen it. Because they were only in like 2 episodes of Clone Wars, I think. It was like a 2-episode arc. And they were just fire right away. And everybody was like, okay, we need more of them. And so now you got the series. And they're introduced. And you're also introduced to this other character, Omega, who is this young girl who is, by her name, might be the last of the clones. Because the Bad Batch takes place at the end of the Clone War.
Because I was going to ask you, how does this fit into the overall Star Wars timeline?
Yeah, it starts off in the first episode, near the very beginning, it's Order 66. Because the Bad Batch were last seen right before Order 66 happens on Clone Wars. Spoiler alert, the last season of Clone Wars involves Order 66 and the end of,
Death.
What is that? Attack of the Clones? Yeah.
Lots of death.
No, Revenge of the Sith, right? Yeah. So that's how Clone Wars ties right into Revenge of the Sith, and then Rebels starts up like right before A New Hope. So that's how they tie in. So then Bad Batch is taking place right at the end of, right where Clone Wars ended, the Bad Batch is starting off.
I see. So
you're going to see people from Clone Wars in the Bad Batch, etc., all that coming. I'm, 100% sure of that. Ahsoka.
So good. That's what we want.
Yeah, but they introduced this new character, Omega, who is the last of the clones, because the Empire has now taken hold of the galaxy and they're phasing out the clone troopers in favor of the stormtroopers and just recruiting people from various planets. So they have this young girl, Omega, who joins up with the Bad Batch because you got to have a cute kid in a Star Wars story. And that's pretty much the premise without spoiling some of the big twists, or there's a big twist in the first episode. That's pretty much the premise, is setting up the crew and how it's going to go down from here on out for the rest of the season, which is like 16 episodes every Friday. Disney with that foot on the net, because Loki's coming. They announced today that the Loki series will be every Wednesday.
Right. Now, is it every Wednesday? Because Wednesday, at least in mythology, Wednesday is the day of Odin, Odin's day.
I mean, look at you already dropping gems like it's Views from the 616. You know what I mean? I'll just say that. You know?
I mean, it makes sense. But the problem is you got that. And then you got you got Bad Batch on Fridays. And it's like 16 episodes. And then we have our shows that we drop on Mondays. And then we drop a show on Thursday. It's too much. It's too much.
What more do you want from me?
Like they are, like that's our job at this point. So, I mean, we know y'all enjoy it. Like I said, we figure out something. We cannot promise these full-blown reviews of every single last show because it's just a lot and it's a lot of time. But we will.
Might have to switch days of releases.
Oh my God. But we will. But Loki is definitely happening. Like, we're definitely going to do Loki on normal.
Are people going to wait till Monday for Loki?
Yeah, but because it's Wednesday?
Yes. Or do they want it on that Friday?
Yeah, usually give you that 2-day hold. Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know. We have to figure it out, y'all.
Yeah. All right. Well, while we figure that out, I think it's time we take a quick break right here, and we will be right back with more from the For All Nerds Show.
Hi, I'm Professor Brandon Obunu, a scientist who studies genetics and epidemics, and when I'm not doing long division, I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey yo, this is Danny Lore, and this is Vida Ayala, and we are Twin Speaks. And when we are not writing Ironheart or James Bond, we are listening to For All Nerds.
Hi, my name's Genevieve King, and I play Jackie Waithe on Netflix's Lock and Key. When I'm not cooking up new recipes in my kitchen, then I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey everybody, this is Peter Ramsey. I am the director of Rise of the Guardians and one of the directors of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And I like to listen to For All Nerds with Tatiana and the great Benjamin.
Hey, this is Hiro Karangawa, actor and playwright, and you are listening to For All Nerds all the way.
Hi, this is Lexi Alexander, and I'm a filmmaker and a writer, and when I'm not playing with my vintage toys and feeding myself and my dog, then I'm listening to For All Nerds.
Hey, what's up? This is Ato Asado, and when I'm not on television and movie sets, I am listening to For All Nerds.
And welcome back, y'all, and thank you for joining us on yet another episode of the For All Nerds Show. As always, make sure you are following us on all the various audio platforms out there, such as iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you find great podcasts at. Hit follow on For All Nerds so you can get all this beautiful content and all of these wonderful shows from the For All Nerds umbrella. I need a Ella, such as Views from the Six, the Safe Negro podcast show whenever Lovecraft Country returns. But Views from the Six, where we're talking about all the Marvel-ish. People have been asking us about Bad Batch. I don't know. Can we do a Star Wars show on Views from the 616 is the question.
Views from 616 is super hyper Marvel focused, and I don't like mixing. Like, I don't like... What like Rose and Get Out said, I don't like mixing my colored cereal with my white milk. Like, I don't like doing that.
Wow, that's weird. I don't like building brands. I like cereal.
Rose on Get Out did that.
I know, and that was, psycho.
Super weird.
Yeah, I like cereal with milk. Like, I don't know.
Right. Yeah. Here's some more that actually applies to me. I don't like sweet and savory. Like, I don't like chocolate covered pretzels. Like, I'm not into that. And that's how I feel. Like, I don't want to put Disney with Marvel.
I grew up eating them the mints
even
you get at the movie
it's all
theater.
My Disney.
You know the mints you get at the movie theater, little chocolate mints. I grew up loving them, and then recently I realized how insane it is when you drop them into some popcorn.
But no, y'all are weird.
Oh my God, it's so good. And I if I'd known that all my life, oh man, I'd probably have a heart attack right now.
I'm good.
But we need to figure out if we're going to do a Star Wars then focus podcast and yet another name and brand for that. And that just like we had a For All Nerds brand, and it's like we got to build this brand and build that brand. It's like, how many brands are we gonna build when it's all For All Nerds in the end?
It might just be on For All Nerds. If we even get that far, y'all. It's again, I haven't even confirmed that I'm gonna do this. This is a lot.
You know, when Ahsoka comes around,
oh yeah,
you know, I'm gonna need some time to talk about these things.
Yes.
When
we'll get there.
The book of Boba Fett come around, you know what I mean?
We'll get there, but we have your favorite segment coming up.
All right, well, let's get into that right now. Make sure before we get into that though, make sure you check out the views from the 616, like we were just discussing. The all-star episode.
Yes.
Featuring everybody. Rodimus Prime.
Fantastic Frankie.
Janicia F.
From Tea with Queen and Jay. Also the Blur Girl, Karen Mahorn.
And us. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
6 panelists discussing the entire The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Captain America and the Winter Soldier series.
Yes, and shout out to the 100 people who, at least 100 people or a little bit more, that showed up for the live taping, if you want to call it that, but for the live taping and the live recording of it. And again, Patreon people got all that information first. Everybody else was sitting out in the cold while Patreon people was sitting pretty with their popcorn and ready to go. So again, as Ben-Ami said, definitely make sure you check out that All-Star episode. You can see it on our YouTube, youtube.com/forallnerdstv. You can also listen to it on your favorite podcast platform, as we said before. And also make sure I think the lowest tier is $1 or $2. And it's a monthly tier, meaning if you do $2 a month, you are indeed a Patreon fan, and you get special privileges like access to all our giveaways, like access first to all of our events, like free shit. Like we do it for y'all because we love y'all. We do it for the fan. So make sure y'all join.
We just dropped, you can hear it right now, our Invincible finale whole season review.
And it's only on Patreon.
Only on Patreon.
We're not putting nowhere else. Sorry.
Nowhere else. You got to go get that. Patreon.com/forallnerds. Also, if you want to, like we said before, if you want to see our beautiful faces, because you could have watched that Zoom on the Zoom, or you could have caught it on twitch.tv/forallnerds, where every week, as of now, Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m., we're working on some time changes now.
It's going to be later on the Mondays.
It's going to be later on the Mondays, if it's still on Mondays, just low-key making us rethink things. But anyway, right now, every Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can catch us semi-live, live in the chat, doing these shows. You know what I mean? Views from the 616, For All Nerds, whatever else happens. Catch it there, twitch.tv/forallnerds. We got Uncolored Page doing his weekly gaming sessions. We got me doing the weekly or semi-weekly DJ sessions. We got Tatiana King joining up, doing some gaming, talking to her ish.
By the time you listen to this, I've already have done a stream. I'm actually going live tonight.
There you go. You missed it because, we record this and then release it. But hey, now you know for the future. Twitch.tv/forallnerds. Make sure you follow. Turn on notifications so you know whenever one of us is on there doing something, because there's a lot going on there and only more to come. And now, since it was delayed a little bit, we can get right into one of my favorite segments. The Geekly Asked Questions, the Guac is Extra, where we answer any and all listener questions. All you got to do is hit us up, contact@forallnerds.com. Really the best place to hit us. Don't go on these long-winded debates about Black Superman on Twitter. I appreciate that one that happened today, but at the same time, it'd be even better. You know what I mean? Like my man said, you got some weed? No. It'd be cooler if you did.
Right.
Hit us up, contact@forallnerds.com if you got these long, debates or questions, whatever. Like if you want to talk about why I want a Black Superman along with Icon and whatever other Black character you want to name from DC, hit us up, contact@forallnerds.com, or you can hit us with your question, if it's a short question, on Twitter, on Instagram, @forallnerds. What do we have up first tonight?
Up first comes from our Patreon, from Low Key World.
Lovely.
They write, who do you think the next MCU big bad is? Fantastic Four and Eternals make me think it'll be Galactus. Galactus makes for a good antagonist in that he isn't evil, he just needs to eat. Also, MCU Phase 1 through 3 was the Infinity Saga. Do you think we have another 10 years and 3 phases for this saga? Anyway, your show has been the highlight of my week for years, and I insist that you continue to flourish. Thank you so much, Low-Key. Appreciate you on the Patreon and appreciate the love. I'm glad that we're helping make your week better. Benjamin is pointing to his vast, ridiculous collection. It's not that ridiculous, but
it's really not.
It's ridiculous in size. That's a huge Galactus that you, or a couple of huge ones that you have back there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have the really tall one, like the old school one, and you have this giant, almost like pop figure times 50.
It's the giant Pop Funko Galactus that just dropped, actually.
Okay, so is he gonna be the big bad for the next phase?
God willing. But no, I'm leaning on right now. I do not think that they are getting your man Jonathan Majors to play Kang just for one film.
Yeah, no.
And Kang is
Kang is not a one film nigga.
No.
Like, no.
Mm-mm.
No.
Now, whether or not Kang is just part of because you got Fantastic Four coming, which means you got Doctor Doom coming, guaranteed. Which pretty much means you got Galactus coming at some point as well.
You have to.
And then I think we have another question related to this, but the next phase in 4, I don't think will have a big main villain. The one we're seeing right now, I think it's just like with, phase 1, 2, and 3 built up to the big main villain.
Right.
Now, I don't think we're going to have a 10-year build up. They talked about this thing is more 5-year.
Oh, so it's a little speedier timeline.
Yeah, the next phase plan they have is like a 5-year, rollout.
And you know what's helping that? The Disney Plus shows.
Yes.
When you combine the TV with the film, that's able to help speed along the time.
I mean, it's going to be ridiculous amount of content we're getting over the next 2 years, or
There's
so.
ridiculous amount of content we're getting over the last 3 months. This 3 months period right here. We already went through WandaVision. We already went through
Falcon and the Winter
Soldier. We're about to go into Loki. There's and there's random stuff in between. There's so much stuff already happening.
Mm-hmm. And so I would hope for some Galactus action coming up real soon, because I'm just, as you see behind me, I'm one of the biggest fans of Galactus, the Silver Surfer, all of his heralds, just his whole, everything that comes along with Galactus, the whole Galactic stuff, the Celestials, which are definitely going to show up in Eternals, as far as I know, because the Celestials have a big part in him. So we're getting into the bigger galactic concepts. We've seen little bits and pieces of Celestials so far, but I think we're going to see living, breathing ones really doing action. And so that's when you get in, the Celestials are these giant space gods like Galactus, and they're considered like brothers or cousins to Galactus in a way in the pantheon of space gods. So
got it.
Yeah, you see, there's no question. I love it, but I also love Kang. I love Doom. All these characters. Marvel got some villains coming out, that are some of my favorites. So
and these aren't, and hopefully they're not going to be these one and done type. Kang can't be one and done.
Kang
they can't be one and done type villains. The stuff. And again, this is just TV, but you've seen these people get essentially put away or fridge for later or whatever. These are villains with as we see in the comics, as we see in the animations. They just hang around because they find their way out of things, or they just cannot be beat. They can't really be killed. It's just they can just be put off for another day. Yeah.
No, I think Marvel's learned this lesson. They're bringing Abomination back from the Hulk movie. They are probably going to bring Killmonger back in some way, shape, or form. I think.
I feel like as time going by, I'm like, oh my god, this is.
Happen. So I feel like they've learned their lesson and just don't off villains just for no good reason. At least let them have their moment to shine, like Thanos, before you do them in.
Cut off that nigga head when he was making plantains.
Man.
All right. The next question comes from Missy510 from Twitter. They write, "Hey fam, which upcoming MCU movie are you most excited for and why?" For me, motherfucking Wakanda Forever. The Marvels, because again, that trio, I'm really excited to see how they put that all together. I am interested in seeing Kate Bishop, so I will definitely. So it's not a film, but the Hawkeye series. What about you, Ben? What movie are you interested in?
Probably Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange.
And the madness of the multiverse.
Yeah, Doctor Strange as well.
America Chavez.
Yes.
Yeah, America Chavez alone did.
Agree with you on that.
That alone, and I've been reading that. What's her name? Olsen, who played Wanda, said that the reason why Wanda left the town so quickly, why she dipped up out of there, is because she knew people was coming up for that ass.
Clearly.
And they're coming for that ass in Doctor Strange and the Madness. So The comeuppance that I've been waiting for is, coming.
The comeuppance is coming.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Doctor Strange. I mean, Black Panther's like goes without saying. It's like, do you want to breathe?
Right,
yeah,
right.
of course. Do I want to see Black Panther?
Are you looking forward to Thor: Love and Thunder?
Oh my God, nigga!
Yeah.
What? Like,
for me, I'm naming specific movies, but let's really be clear: the entire
it's
phase
the
4.
entire. It's just how it just. it's just like every phase. It's like I just want to see what's next and how it connects and
I don't know
this and that and.
I will say the only one that I have, if I had to put it in a hierarchy, the only one that would be on the bottom would be Internals, and only because I don't know really much about.
Oh God,
Internals.
no! See that? Yeah, because
and that's
I know
the only
yeah.
reason, not because I don't think it's going to be hype or anything about the people who are playing in it, just because I don't know anything about it, so I don't have anything to go off on. But it's still within the realm of the entire Phase 4. I'm just itching to see.
Yeah, well, I'm not the biggest Eternals reader. I've read some of their stuff. Right now, Kieran Gillen has a new run on them. It's only on the 3rd issue.
Okay.
Well worth checking out. It's Kieran kicking ass as usual. And it's, it introduces you to all the characters and the concepts of the Eternals. And they're an ill squad. They're eternal. They're like immortal. They've been around since the beginning of time, pretty much. Not beginning of time, but very early in the universe. They've been around. So they've been around on Earth for thousands of years. So the movie is going to show you how they've been affecting events and they were around and they're related to Thanos. He's a deviant, which is related. I'm not sure which way they're going in the actual MCU, but in the comics, there's the Eternals who are like the good looking versions. And then the deviants who are like the mutated genetic aberrations.
Okay.
And there are two separate races, and the deviants are traditionally like the evil race, and the Eternals are like the good race. So it's kind of simplistic in the beginning, and that's been flipped on its head many different ways. But Thanos is one of the deviants.
Yeah, and I've read, I've read about a lot of the backstory of the Eternals. So like what you mentioned about where they come from and what they were, and like I started getting those connections, but like really having the full picture, I don't have that.
Yeah. And like they were mistaken for like the Greek and Norse gods.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of their names and they look like a lot of like they have abilities similar to the gods. And it's an ill story and it just connects to like this bigger, larger cosmic stuff, which is some of my favorite stuff in Marvel that they've hinted at a lot in Guardians of the Galaxy, got into some in Thor, but are going to get deep into it in Ragnarok. Like they already cast Russell Crowe as who's Hercules' father? Not Odin. Zeus. Yeah, Russell Crowe is now cast as Zeus for
that
Ragnarok.
Man be in every universe, man. First he was Superman dad. He was Kal-El
and that's what
dad.
we were saying. If they turn around and cast Henry Cavill as Hercules,
they can't do that.
Fam.
They can't do that.
The stunt.
They cannot. That would be all stunts and shows.
And
they
he
cannot
would be a
do that.
Perfect Hercules. Because the Hercules in the Marvel universe is a straight up drinking, fighting, fucking machine. My man be laying pipe to men, women,
Arthur
she,
Curry.
her, him.
Sounds like Arthur Curry, but okay.
Or, whatever happened, however it goes down, he's a party animal, and he's a great character. And Henry Cavill, has that comedy. He has look.
I mean, Henry's they can't do that. No.
They
got too much power.
Yeah.
Marvel has too much
getting away
power.
Yeah.
Unlimited power.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. This can't happen.
We'll see.
I mean, I say that knowing that shit is going to happen regardless. But it's just, wow. Okay.
DC talking about doing a black Superman. They don't really need Henry right now. And them checks.
But I'm saying there's nothing in his contract that says, yo, you can't work for the enemy.
Yep.
Like,
nope. Them checks.
Wow. Okay. Let's see what happens.
Could you imagine? I mean, like Chris.
No.
Could you imagine like the movie after Thor Ragnarok where it's like Chris Hemsworth and Henry Cavill, like Thor and Hercules?
This is too much. And that just reminded me the last part I wanted to say. They have to do all of this cosmic shit because that's the only way you get to Galactus, Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four, and all the rest of these people. Like, yeah, you have this entryway you had with Guardians and you had with Thor, but you really don't get into things until you do this new shit, this Eternals and all this other shit, until you can really open those cosmic doors. So I'm just beside myself.
Yeah, and I will say, I don't know how you really top even Thanos. Like, Galactus isn't even a level of threat like Thanos was. And that's the one thing.
Well, he is in a different way. Like, Thanos is because like it's like the question before this said like Galactus just needs to eat.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's his motivation. He just needs to eat. And you can't necessarily assign good or bad to that. It's just like he's this entity and this is just what he does.
Yeah.
And it's not, and it's, whereas like some people would, like you had the argument before about Thanos where what he did considered evil. You can debate that it wasn't because he had a good reason, I guess, you know, but it's also like, but he also came from, in my head, the perception of lack. Like if you can have things to make sure the world is balanced, why can't you just double things to help everybody out?
Facts.
So
we'll see. And there's a lot of, with some good writing, you can do some really ill stuff with Galactus. They've done it a million times. I just don't think of him as like the thing building up from Thanos, like where you build up to a Galactus, because one, he's like, when you've already killed someone like Thanos, the Avengers will be like, all right, well, and when you got Captain Marvel and Photon and these other really powerful people who can, they can't stand Galactus though. He'd smash all of them. Right. So we'll see how it goes.
But but you saw it literally took every single last person to bring Thanos down. Like,
and Galactus is putting the whammy on them.
If they had Monica and all them other people, it wouldn't have changed. They already had not Miss Marvel, but they already had Captain Marvel, who's supposed to be greater than everybody combined. So, and that's still shit. That shit still didn't matter. And which is, I still think, like, I hear what you're saying. Maybe from a real strategic perspective, it's going to be different. But Galactus is this literal world-eating, unstoppable force.
Yeah, he's another
level.
And
that's a big fucking thing to deal with.
Yeah. No, and I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, for me to see that purple giant coming over like a New York City skyline or something,
Right, like, think about, like,
I couldn't imagine.
Scared. But see, and unless you know what Thanos was up to, you just be like, who is this purple motherfucker? But with Galactus, you just see that and immediately terror befalls you because you're just like, there's no stopping this.
No.
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, I still feel like Galactus is still one of the, what they say, Omega level, God level type of villains or antagonists, if you will. Like,
I'll lose my mind. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm most looking forward to. Seeing
they
Galactus
made
a
tree, a talking tree, and a talking raccoon work. They can make anything work.
Had me crying with that trailer when he was like, "We are Groot." I was like,
"We are Groot." I miss Baby Groot. Okay. The next question comes actually from our audio engineer, Luna himself. What up, Luna? Luna writes, last episode got me thinking. After 73 shows, wow, you've edited a lot. After 73 shows, why have I never picked an AKA? I am formally submitting my AKAs to be read and judged. Ben, have mercy on your audio engineer. Here goes. Number 1, Soundwave Superior.
Like Soundwave and
I guess like Soundwave the
Transformer.
The Transformer. Thank you.
All right.
So okay. Number 2, the Friendly Neighborhood Sound Mixer. I like that one better.
I see where you was going with it. It's like you got to say it in the right way, like the Friendly Neighborhood Sound Mixer, or something like that. Yeah.
Yes, I like that one. I like that one better than Soundwave Superior.
Yes.
And finally, number 3, Luna Ragnarok these levels. Luna, cue the Price is Right loser music. I don't think Ben cared about that one. But
Luna, I like it. It's like, it's almost, it's like you went for the 360 dunk and banged it on the rim. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Luna, I personally like number 2 the best. So if you want to use that one as one of your top AKAs, I would say go for that one.
Yes, me too. I agree, 100%.
Thank you for your bravery.
Even though thank you
you're part of the team. Thank you for your bravery.
Yes, love you, Luna, man. Thank you so much.
All right, the last question comes from our dear friend Maze.
Uh-oh.
Maze writes, what up, fam? Is Maze, a.k.a. Maze Windu, a.k.a. Darth Hater, a.k.a. Jabba Ranks. We know about that one. We've heard that one. A.k.a. Babu Freakaleek instead of Babu Frick.
Yeah.
All right.
Which one is Babu Frick?
Babu Frick was the little in
Mandalorian. I've spoken.
Not Mandalorian. And which one was it where they were on the fucking casino planet and wasting time?
Oh.
The last one with Rose, was that not Last Jedi, but the one before?
Yeah, Last Jedi. Yep. Yeah, that's the Last Jedi.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
But Babu Frick was the little little alien, like the little tiny alien that was like, I forgot what he was doing specifically, but he was fixing shit. Like he was like a master mechanic or whatever.
Oh yeah, my man's okay. Yeah, I remember him. Yeah, and he had the gun at one point. He was getting busy with the gat.
So Babu Freak League, all right. Uncle Luke Skywalker, yes, we've heard that one from you. Yes, the Millennial Falcon. Okay, I think we've heard that one too, and AKA General Cannoli. We both was like, what?
Is that like a? This
Are
is
these
the
all
May?
Star Wars? Well, these are all Star Wars related because this is from all May the 4th. So.
Oh, this is the May. I get it. Like this is the way. This is the May.
Like this is the May. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Move. Let's get to the question.
Serious question. I've never been the morality police when it comes to the media.
No, you haven't.
But I come to ask the question. Does Lena Waithe have a thing for black trauma porn? I don't want to say she hates her own people, but after Queen and Slim and most recently the Them series on Prime, I have some concerns. I got to the ending of the 5th episode and literally had to calm my nerves from the traumatic events that unfolded. I know the show was going to be rooted in racism to a certain extent, but the scene in question really had me asking, why did they have to show that? Spoiler warning without being too
Okay, yeah, don't say all that.
Don't say this? Okay.
No, Jesus
okay, there's
Christ.
there's some fucked up shit that happens on them. Who the fuck thought this was okay? Traumatized and sad, Maze.
Oh, well, there's a lot being said about them and about black trauma porn, and I won't single out Lena because she.
Also, Lena's the producer on that.
Yeah, like an exec producer, which means she just put her name on it. There's a black man who's the real showrunner of the show, and even Rodimus Prime, our guest on the All-Star episode, he's been having he really not enjoyed them, but he appreciated it, and he's been talking about how we shouldn't be ashamed of what white people have done to us. And to be able to show it and talk about it.
But it's not a shame. It's, I don't want to see this shit.
I also don't want to put words in his mouth either. Don't like, I'm not sure exactly what he was, his point, but he definitely appreciated it. I won't watch this shit. I just don't care.
I won't watch it. I think I said it around the same time you did. Like, I'm not going to watch them now or ever. I don't want to be put through that. Like the stuff and again, yeah, you can say you don't want to go by hearsay, but from the script itself, the stuff I've read, I'm like, I don't want to watch that.
Yeah. What Maze just mentioned right here, I would never need to see that in my life. I didn't even want y'all to even hear the description of it because unless you really want to watch that, you don't need to even hear it. And there's this thing, like I've been struggling to get through this book, A People's History of the United States, which pretty much starts with Christopher Columbus's first letter back to the Queen of Spain and then goes, step by step through how the United States was formed, and a lot of stuff that's just not known, and it's a lot of the horrors and the evils that it took to get to this nation of today. And it's just a tough read, because every time I pick it up, I'm like, oh my God, these white men are dangerous. It's like there's this HBO documentary series on HBO Max, Eliminate the Brutes, which a lot of people have been talking about. We haven't really mentioned on the show. This week, this week I finally sat down and watched the first episode. I couldn't get through it once again. Because it is yet again showing how toxic whiteness has just been a different thing on this planet. I got into this long discussion with one of my friends this week, and he was talking about basically how he feels that it's not whiteness, it's more humanity, it's just twisted. And I just disagree. Like,
it's definitely whiteness.
Don't get me wrong. Like, Genghis Khan rolled through, murdering everyone, raping and pillaging, like no problem. There have been historically, people do dirt, but the system of whiteness and what it did in imperialism and stuff in the modern world, that's what my argument. I can't imagine what they were doing then. I know what these motherfuckers are doing right now, and that's why it's so hard for me to watch stuff like this and even read about it. Like I say, when I'm reading the true history, it's tough because one, I know, it's like motherfuckers is grimy. I grew up in the South in Texas. They were dragging people behind trucks while I was a child. This shit was in the newspaper. That's how I grew up, So it's like I've been called nigger to my face by white men, this as a child, it's different. So I've been, that was even when I was talking about my friend, because he grew up in like Maryland. I was like, dog, you don't understand the white people I grew up with. You know, it's a different thing down there. We grew up with it in your face, where it was like you could never ignore the history because they were still repeating it right there to you. You know, so it was impossible to ignore what we'd been through when they're doing it again. There was a legendary story about there's a high school, Lamar, in Houston, Texas, where these 4 white kids in the 90s wore T-shirts that said, if the South had won this war, we wouldn't be in this mess. They came to high school wearing these shits. And niggas bust their ass. You know, everybody bust their ass. And it turned into race riots at the school because people were just fighting. You know what I mean?
These microaggressions that y'all do and then blow up to something more. And it's like y'all want it to blow up into something more.
Yeah, they wanted to blow up. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I grew up with a different, so I can't really, I want to see different shit. Like, I don't want to see another slavery story because that's not our entire history.
There's several coming.
I know. And that's just not our entire history.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I was a person who praised Judas and the Black Messiah, you know, when I first saw it. I was praising it on the show. And then the more I thought about it, the less I enjoyed that film. I saw Cheo Hodari Coker, you talked about it the other day, and you're like, yo, go out and buy it. And I just couldn't even retweet that or anything. I was just like, because I just don't appreciate it. I feel like that film is a film that doesn't tell you enough about Fred Hampton. It sidelines his character, and it ends with the idea of we will kill you if you attempt a revolution. And it doesn't show you how to do a revolution. You know, it just...
But what work of art is going to actually tell you how to do it? In America.
I mean, maybe not a mainstream film like that, but that's my point. It's like, I don't really even want to appreciate these films where they're ending with, no, we'll kill y'all niggas. You know what I mean? I like Lovecraft Country where it's like, no, kill these whiteys.
Right. But Lovecraft is also fiction.
Yes, but at the same time, they pulled it off and the imagery is still there. It's still, and the words and the meaning behind those words are still there. That's the difference. You know, and that's why it's so powerful and that's why it's so important. And even the shit that I couldn't deal with, like Shorty choking the white girl out at the end, was so important because y'all never learn, as she said.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like what we were talking about on the All-Star episode where we had to talk about the youth and them having a different mentality, you know? And I'm one of the people who's like hoping for a peaceful solution, you know, like where people just naturally grow and we move on from these, like when someone was arguing about Black Superman and stuff, like, I don't care. Because that's such minor ideas. The idea that a character should be dictated by the race, or that you should say something about someone because they sleep with someone, like, oh, he's gay. You know, those are like such ridiculous labels that we've done to create and separate each other from each other. And I think I want the world to be of a Star Trek nature where people are not worried about such stupid things. So I try and ignore them as much in my own life, and don't, you know, like when people are like, oh, you know, is a Black Superman got to deal with racism? I don't know. I'm not writing a movie. You know what I mean? But a Black Superman to me is a powerful thing when we grew up in a time when you could not have a Black Superman. So yes, I want an icon character, but I also want a Black Superman because I want people to get past that. You know, I want a Chinese Superman. I want a Native American, you know, gay, trans, you know, whoop, whoop, blue, green, Batman. It don't matter to me because that stuff shouldn't, you know, as long as the traits of their character stay what they are. That's all that matters. So this other, you know, I'm past the trauma shit. I'll be honest, for the most part.
That's fair.
Yeah, I want to see us doing great. You know?
I mean, like, it's also understood that trauma is a part of life.
Yes, drama is a part of life
in general, but it's also just like the hyper focus on that's what gets made, that's what gets produced, that's what gets the energy and attention above all else. That is the problem. Because and again, it's, you have to be clear, it's not like this is the only things being made. No, this is the only thing that's getting the hyper attention to it. Because there's plenty of indie producers and filmmakers and all sorts of things, including us writers, that are writing things and creating things that have nothing to do with any of this trauma stuff. Do characters go through some form of trauma? Of course, that's life, but not like this, and not necessarily tied to, as you mentioned, slavery or other things like that. Like, there's other parts of our history that need to be shown. So,
like, if you're gonna show, like, once again, that's why I appreciated Lovecraft Country, because it actually showed Black Wall Street before it got burned. It showed it getting burned, yes, but it also showed, you know, Letty's character coming like a phoenix from the ashes of it. You know, so it had that imagery, it had that strength, and it had redemption.
It had lots of redemption points in it, which is why particularly about Lovecraft Country, why it was so satisfying and enjoyable. Because, okay, yeah, there's trauma. Yeah, there's the racist shit's happening. Yes, that history is there. But there's so many points of redemption and points of revolution, as you stated before.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
I'm good. Sorry you had to sit through that maze, but we told you,
yeah, no,
people
we're
been
not
asking about that one for months, and we've been like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. But and again, I'm not gonna put all that on Lena. Like,
no, not at all. No.
Like, there's stuff that you disagree with her approach on things, but I'm not gonna put all that on her. So
yeah, even like Queen and Slim, like I understand, and I did not like the ending, but even before I saw the film, I knew that these characters were going to die. The film is based on the Bonnie and Clyde. Oh, it always happens, Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, they're dead in the end, man.
Dead in the end. It's spoiler if you haven't seen them joints, but Thelma and them go out too. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, they go out. Like everybody.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
They just happen to be black in this one and go out. Yeah.
So that is the end of Arc Walk. As Ben Amin told y'all, with all of the information, if you want to ask us any type of question, be about geek and pop culture, be about your family, be about naming your child or your newborn puppy, whatever it is, we are here to talk to you. Contact at 4allnerds.com on the emails or hit us up at 4allnerds on the socials. And if you are on our Patreon, doesn't matter what tier you're on, patreon.com/4allnerds, you get guaranteed guac questions. So definitely drop it in the chat. You can just send us a message and we'll read it and add it like we did today. So thank you.
And before we get out of here tonight, because I talked about anyone comments earlier in this episode, I went by, it's been a minute since I've been in a comic book store. Oh, but I can mention that on the show, right? Your boy did get his second shot. For those who thought I was, out here faking, we've had Brandon Obunu on here. We've been talking about the vaccine. We've been talking about everything.
You were getting to the point where you were comfortable with your knowledge and you understood. You did exactly what people are supposed to do. You asked the questions, you did your research, you talked to an actual expert, and then you came to your own conclusion.
And
the conclusion is you're now a Pfizer poppy.
I'm now a Pfizer poppy, doubled up. No, I'm not putting my card up here because y'all didn't get that info. But trust and believe. I'm actually now a little over 24 hours as we speak from my second shot, and I'd say my side effects have been pretty minimal so far.
One of the lucky ones.
I'm going to knock on the wood again. I've had a bit of a headache. That's about it. If, my arm was a bit sore, but second shot in, I'm good to go. And it feels good. So, I went into a comic book store. I was still masked up, as everyone should be. And I went into Anyone Comics and I picked up some joints because it'd been a minute. And now I get to show them off because you're watching right now on twitch.tv/forallnerds. So you can see these beautiful covers of Far Sector by N.K. Jemisin, the famous, and art by
Green Lantern.
Jamal Campbell, who, if you don't know him now, you will know him soon because this motherfucker is a superstar in the making. Like,
that
every
art
panel,
is sick.
Every panel of this book so far, has just been stupid. Pick it up. It involves a Green Lantern in a Far Sector of the universe. She's a black woman. She has different abilities than the rest of the Green Lanterns, and she's trying to solve a murder mystery. And it's written by N.K. Jemisin, who's just, one of the fantastic writers. So there's all this world building. There's like 3 different alien races that they created for this series alone. And they all are involved in this whole murder that's going on. Just a very dope series. I've actually just been buying them and putting them away because I stopped on like issue 5. So I'm waiting for the whole limited series to finish before I just, go back and read the whole joint. Children of the Atom by friend of the show Vita Ayala and Bernard Chang. This is the first issue. They're out on number 3 already. But this, I've been talking about it a lot. This involves these characters, as you can see, who look like X-Men from before. Like you see the black woman with the fro is Gambit.
The black one's Gambit. Yeah.
Yep. The Cyclops type dude. The Archangel guy in the back with the wings.
Who's that in the corner? Is that Magneto-like type person? Bottom left? I can't see.
Bottom left is like a Jean Grey type person, but it's a dude. It's a green costume like the old Marvel girl. And then they got a teleporter Daycrawler, his name, instead of Nightcrawler.
Like a Nightcrawler, okay.
Yep. And the mystery of why they're like this has still not been revealed. 3 issues in, but it's great. I recently went back and reread and read because I'd missed some of the stuff. Like I read the whole Dawn of X, like all the series that leads up to Swords of X. So pretty much everything that came out after Powers of X and House of X. I read the whole thing in chronological order. It's been fantastic. Like, if you're not reading everything, and it's a lot, you know, because there's mad different series, you might miss some certain stuff, but just overall, what they've done with the X-Men has just been fucking incredible. And that leads into one of my favorite books out right now, Sword, by Al Ewing. And who is this motherfucker on this art? Because this art is stupid too. Shitty. I don't know them. Stitty. Art is silly. But Sword involves the X-Men basically going into space and dealing with some old insane space shit. They've got, it's an ill team made up of Agent Brand. My man, Gateway, I think Gateway is his father. Gateway is an Aboriginal dude or like his grandfather.
Okay.
Manifold is his name, who's this Australian, original Australian person who can talk to the universe. Like he has his, I think it's issue
to the universe itself.
Yeah, because for those who know the 90s X-Men, they used to live in Australia and there was this Aboriginal mutant there named Gateway who would teleport them around. So Manifold is like his successor, but Manifold's like, he has this one solo issue. I want to say it's issue 2 or 3. No, it's issue 3. Yeah, this one right here. He has this solo issue 3, where he starts it off like, I'm not a teleporter, I talk to the universe. And then he just explains, and you see what that means throughout the issue, and it is incredible. I mean, it's Al Ewing, the same dude who did Immortal Hulk,
right?
So you already know the writing is stupid. Before he did Immortal Hulk, he did Ultimates, which was a series about big galactic level threats. And so Sword is back to that, but with the mutants, it's pure fire.
Amazing. And the cover artist is Valerio Schiti.
Okay, that's the interior artist too. Schiti is the interior artist too.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're, oh my God, sick with it.
The pencil says cover artist and penciler Schiti, yeah.
Yep. And then I also picked up Is Nana the Were Spider, independent book right here. I got the latest 2 issues.
Oh, let me see that cover again.
Yeah, pure fire right here. Beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, beautiful.
What's that about?
Is Nana the Were Spider involves this dude. It's like a Black Spider-Man type tale.
Okay.
But with the idea of Mr. Nancy, like the spider gods of Africa being used as, the inspiration and the powering. I've only read the first trade. I haven't got a chance to read these latest 2 issues right here. But it's straight up independent. Check this out. It's like independent, Black. We always talk about supporting POC.
And who writes it?
Greg Anderson Elise, and that's who I picked this up from. He was out there, slanging them products. I got
on the street. Nice.
He was at Anyone Comics. I got It's Nana the Were Spider. If you go to Anyone Comics, I'm sure they got more of these. The little sticker right here is pure fire, so you can get yourself one of these.
Very nice.
And goddamn, I got a lot this week. Real quick, this is book Stealth by Costa Belgrade and Bonvillain from Image Comics. Stealth involves this Black superhero, Stealth, who you see on the cover, who I can't
Detroit. And he lives in Detroit.
He lives in Detroit, and I can't give away the big twist of the first issue. I've only read the first issue of this trade, but it fucked me up. You know what I mean? The big twist in it was a dope twist.
He brings R. Kelly to jail.
Wouldn't that be in Chicago? Yeah.
Chicago.
No, that's not exactly what happens. But if you want, once again, an independent, Image Comics, it was created by Robert Kirkman, but it's written by this person, Costa. Like, I think Kirkman created and passed it on. The back of it says, for decades, Stealth has waged war on crime in Detroit, but now he's taken his pursuit of justice too far. Only reporter Tony Barber knows that behind Stealth's reckless behavior, well, I guess this shit, that gives away the twist. All right, I'm not gonna keep reading it.
No, I'm about to say I didn't process it fully, so it's fine. Don't read no more.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, they gave away the twist on the back of the, but it is in the first issue.
It must not be that much of a twist. There must be more coming then.
Well, it's more coming. All right, I'll give it away. Basically, Tony Barber is this reporter, and he's a Black dude, and for the whole first issue, you think he's Stealth. Turns out it's his daddy.
Oh,
Stealth, an old man with Alzheimer's, is still running around trying to be Stealth.
Oh, no, not Alzheimer's, though.
No, because he beats his son's ass like Omni-Man in the first issue because he don't recognize him.
Or as the older people in my family call it, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yeah. So, dope book. I only read the first issue of that. And last, but certainly not motherfucking least for these joints is giant, is The Other History of the DC Universe. So far, there are 3 of these out. They're by John Ridley, who's a big-time screenwriter, writer in general, all kind of, just dope. Basically, each of these big magazines or their giant-sized books cover a different character in the DC universe. Like, this one is about Black Lightning, everybody's favorite Black Lightning. And it goes through...
With his chest out.
Yeah, that page shows some white people, but... It's a lot of text with some beautiful art as well, but it basically goes through and tells the story of their history and relates it to the rest of the canon, like major events that happen in DC Comics, but tells it from the reality of what it would be like for a Black person to live through these things. So the first issue was like Black Lightning, which was really ill. And then the second issue was featured these characters, Jericho and Bumblebee from the Titans, who you might know from the Titans, and their relationship and them, because they're a married couple and them going through all these things. And
I know Bumblebee.
Yep. And the latest issue, which I haven't read yet, features Katana, the Japanese character who we saw in Suicide Squad.
That's a wow cover.
Wicked
oh my God.
cover. Yeah, wicked. Wow. All the covers are wicked. All the art throughout it is wicked. And John Ridley is fucking killing it. Because it's I'm not as big DC, where I know all the history, but I know a general enough where I'm reading these stories and how he's connecting the dots, and making it make sense and making it like, oh, okay, historically what was happening. And it really being like really Black. Like Black Lightning doesn't like Green Lantern. The John Stewart.
About to say, it got to be the Black guy.
Yeah, because they have different, political views. And he looked at him as like this way. And he's like, oh, I didn't really like him. And then he's like, then I met him. And when we met, we talked.
That's real life.
Yeah, and when we talked, I was like, yo, this is just a brother trying to make it like me. You know what I mean? So it's a really ill series.
It's just another Sam Wilson, man.
Just another Sam Wilson, man. Man's got different views than me, but, we still hang out, have a drink. I don't know if he smoked them trees, but...
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
But that is Ben Amin's comics I copped. He copped a lot this week. Make sure you show us the comics you copped. We saw a lot of people send us in there. The Hellfire Gala, like that's another beast.
Coming up big.
Oh my God.
I wasn't even as hyped for that until I started reading all these X-Men issues.
As soon as I saw the first few outfits, and again, fashion, I was all over that shit.
I was hyped for that once I saw the fashion. But they've been building up to it for a while. But it wasn't until I read all these X-Men issues and I realized that everybody fucking each other. And I'm like, oh, now I can't wait for the gala.
Everybody knows each other's business.
I mean, everybody just like, oh, man, Wolverine just
the fucking. Panels that they released or people have been releasing already are just out of control.
That
but in
Colossus with the beard?
The whole Colossus stuff, like... like, if y'all thought y'all were too horny and need to get out, like... Too much. As I said, thank you to everyone who's been posting up your comments. We see them, we RT them, we comment on them. Thank you very much. You use that hashtag comics I copped. If you click on that hashtag, you will see years worth of recommendations, really cool recommendations. You'll find some incredible art with some dope authors and dope stories. So make sure you are checking that out. Also, if you can, check out the comments that Ben Amin just showed you all.
I'll be posting all these tomorrow by the time you hear this, so you'll be able to see them. And yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good stuff. Like I say, if you want just a big series to read, I would highly recommend picking up The Dawn of X. If you've already read Powers of X and House of X, they've been releasing them like Dawn of X Volume 1, 2, 3, 4, leading up into Swords of X. Then there's been some stuff after Swords of X, and that's leading into the Hellfire Gala, which is like the next big X-Men crossover this summer. And I'm hyped for it, y'all, because they're killing this shit.
Killing